Guys, today's video I'm going to be running through one of the Chinese B standard level paper 2 exams, so that was paper 1 in the old course. And the purpose of today's video is just to sort of do an exam walkthrough to see how would you approach a question and how would you answer and how would you respond and come to a logical conclusion so you can answer most of the questions in the reading exam. I feel like this is a better way rather than just looking at the mark scheme and then explaining how the answer is what the mark scheme says, but rather instead I want to go from a student's perspective, doing the exam, making either guesses or some basic deduction, and I feel like this is just better to see someone else's exam technique and then see if you can modify that for your own exams. So just for some quick context, the paper we're doing today is from November 2018, and we are doing 3 texts from this paper instead of the 4 in the old course, as in the new course you do 3 texts in 1 hour, while in the old course it was 4 texts in 1.5 hours. And a quick footnote is that one of the texts is screenshotted because the IB removed it due to copyright reasons, but I managed to get it back. So it might not have the usual formatting such as paragraph numbers or line numbers, but that shouldn't affect anything too much. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So we move on to the first text. So first impressions is that it's a letter, and we can see here that it's addressed to someone's son. So it's most likely going to be a parent wrote this letter. And just looking at it, it seems to be about like family connection. But instead of just reading through the text right now, what I want to do is instead go to the questions, and then, because in the reading exam, I feel like it's a better approach to, instead of just going to a text, reading through the entirety of it, I'd feel like going question by question. So looking at a question and then looking at the section of the text the question asks for, I feel like that better helps you because it limits the amount of information you need to read, and thus you can sort of like thus you can save a bit of time on that. But if you feel like reading the text is better for you from the get-go, then by all means do so. But this is just one approach a student might take. So here we have questions 1 to 4. These are all multiple choice. So according to paragraph 1 and 2, choose the correct options. Okay. Question 1. 儿子刚刚跟作者说. So the son just said to the author. And then if we look at paragraphs 1, we see here, 刚才你打来电话说中午在同学那吃饭，不会来了。看着早上准备好的菜，突然就一点也不想做了。So that sentence right there is that just now you called to say that you are not coming home or returning with your friends to eat lunch. Looking at the vegetables I just prepared in the morning, I suddenly don't want to make lunch anymore. So here, this sentence is stating that the son, who is the ni the letter is referring to, has called to say that he is not returning home, I presume, with his friends to eat lunch. So if you look at the questions here, question 1, so what did the son ultimately say? Well, the son said he's not returning home, I presume, to eat lunch because he's eating a meal at noon, and lunch is the only meal that can be eaten at noon. Sorry, brunch people. But out of these options, I feel like C would be the closest one, as it says 不会在家吃午饭, so can't eat at lunch at home. Question 2. 每年春节, so every spring festival, every Chinese New Year. 儿 儿子都在家住十多天 so stays at home for more than 10 days. B. 儿子都只会到头打水 so son only falls asleep. C. 儿子都会说工作辛苦 the son always talks about work difficulty. And D. 儿子都会跟朋友见面 so the son always meets with his friends. So we look at paragraph 1. There's nothing here to say about 春节, so let's move to paragraph 2 quickly. Excuse me. So we have this first part about paragraph 2 doesn't mention 春节 either, but it does mention two of the options, the 工作辛苦 and the 头就睡着了, so and the sleeping thing. Now, because these two aspects don't seem to be related to 春节 at all in this text, we can cross out B and C, and we can focus on A and D to see which one's correct. So here we see 去年过节你在家待了不到10天. So basically this is saying last year you didn't even stay 10 days at home. Now this contradicts the option A, as this says son always stays at home for more than 10 days. So since A, B, and C are all incorrect, that means we can deduce that D is the correct response. Question 3. 作者最重视. So what does the author places the most emphasis on, or places most importance on? So we have A, mother can buy vegetables to make food. B, can go outside with friends to party. C, that was B. C, can get along more with the child. Or D, dad has a lot of work. So right off the bat there, I can sort of eliminate A and D, as they seem fairly ridiculous options and they don't really fit up. So if we look at the text here, we can also see that B is not an option because the author doesn't highly emphasize that the child should go out with friends, and neither does it say about dad having a lot of work, but in the text it does say our greatest hope, 我们心里最盼望的是能多看到你 is seeing you more. So I reckon the answer might actually be C, because seeing your child more means also interacting and getting along with them more. So C might be the correct answer. And by the way, we will check the mark scheme to see if my approach is actually correct or not. But question 4, 这封信的作者是, so who's the author of this letter? Well, right off the bat, since we have 儿子, we can immediately cross out A and D as since this is being addressed to someone's son, it has to be the parents. So is it B, 母亲, the mother, or C, 父亲, the father? So if we look in the text in paragraph 2, we see that dad is referred to in the third person. It's like, and since the dad's being referred to in the third person here, we can deduce that the dad isn't actually the one writing this letter. So I'm going to take a guess that it's the mother who's writing this letter. Okay, question 5. So these are asking for the synonyms. So synonyms. So basically the IB gives a phrase and then they ask you, okay, what's the synonym of this phrase that's in the text? So question 5, we have 一直在看, so constantly looking or staring or seeing something. So we're looking for something with the I radical or something to do with to look, 看. And that's according to paragraph 3. So here in paragraph 3, we're looking for anything to do with to look. And we see something here in this third line of paragraph 3, we see 有时啊没事啊总是 this thing that looks like 盯着手机看. So because this is something to do with like looking at one's phone, I'm going to take a guess that this character might actually be our synonym we're looking for because it's got the I radical and has to do with looking at your phone. So maybe constantly staring at your phone or being too addicted to it. So I'm going to put that, which looks like ding, as my response. Yep, and it was ding. Okay, question 6, we have 思想不集中. So 思想is to do with like, I don't know, one's emotions or mind. So I'm thinking something to do with like 心理 or just 心 in general, the heart. So I'm looking for anything to do with the heart here. So we have 你的注意力都被电视给吸引住了。问你话回答总是心不在 and then whatever this character is. So I think this phrase, 心不在, and the last character, which I don't know entirely, I think that's going to be my synonym, as there's a 心, which reflects the emotion seen in 思想. Okay, question 7. We have 感到 and then something here, which I'm not entirely sure what this is. But since we have a 感到, it means it must be something to do with an emotion, like a feeling more specifically, rather than just emotions in general, like 心. So we're looking for an emotive or word for feeling in this third paragraph. And what we can see here is looking through it, scanning it quickly. We have this word. We have 发了脾气, which means to get angry. And because this is the one emotion word for a feeling that I can find in this third paragraph, I can take a confident guess that this is our synonym we're looking for. So 发了脾气. There we go. Okay. Questions 8 to 10. So this is according to paragraph 3 and 4. You choose the correct option. So question 8, we have 儿子对于父母的提问. So basically, complete the sentence that makes this true. So the son towards his parents' concerns is what? So if we look at the 4th paragraph, I think. So here we have something about 态度, attitude, and then we have 你可能没有注意到. So you may not have been paying attention. And because this is addressed to the son, this sort of suggests that the son himself is quite negligent. He doesn't care or ignores his parents' concerns as he's not paying attention to them. So we're looking for something that reflects that. So we have A, constantly immediately responds. That's incorrect. C, calls the son to not return home to eat. That's incorrect because we're talking about the son and not because it's mentioned like calling the son. The son wouldn't call himself to not eat dinner. C is not correct for 8. D, we have 总是不理不睬. So this thing might be an idiom. Now, I don't actually know what that means, but sort of trying to guess, we have this 不理, which means like and this is similar to like 了 like 理解的理, which is to like understand, or like we have 心里, which is like inside your heart. So D, I'm not entirely sure, but that could be a possibility if the other ones don't match 8. So if we go to E, 总是天天跑着手机, so it's always scrolling through your phone. No, that wouldn't match with 8. F, 爸爸到了朋友的家聊天. That wouldn't exactly fit with the sentence structure, because if you tried saying 儿子对于父母的提问爸爸到了朋友, see, it just doesn't fit. And then we have 对父母的态度跟现在不同, so attitude towards his parents isn't the same. That wouldn't fit 8. And H, 与儿子见面的机会比以前少. So that's not like finishing the sentence, because it's introducing a new topic that doesn't answer like the son's attitude towards his parents' concerns. So because none of these options really work, except for D, which we don't know what it is, we're gonna do process of elimination to think that D is the answer for 8. There we go. All right, question 9. We have 儿子小时候. So if we look at the text, we're looking for a 小时候, and we find one here. 你很少像小时候一样跟爸爸妈妈认认真真聊天了. So this sentence here, 你很少像, which means you are not at all, or like you very little resemble when you were young, how you used to talk to mum and dad all the time so conscientiously. So this is referring to, so the meaning of this is basically the son was so different to what he was compared to when he was young. And when he was young, he used to talk to his parents a lot, but now he doesn't talk to his parents at all because he's older. So we're looking for something to do with like differing attitudes. And G, we see here, 对父母的态度跟现在不同. So his attitude to his parents compared to now is not the same, it's different. And I think that would be the correct answer for 9. Cool. And the final question, we have 10. So we have mama and ... So we're looking for mama in the paragraph, and we see here we have this line. So let's read this whole line. So we have 现在见你次数越来越少了，妈妈希望你能抽出一点时间陪我们好好说话. So the first part of the sentence is, now the number of times we can see you has slowly decreased. And strangely enough, that's actually close to one of the options we see here, which is H. 妈妈与儿子见面的机会, so opportunities to meet with her child, compared to before, 比以前很少, compared to before are small or low. And this is similar to like the decreasing opportunities to see her child, because it's 越来越少了, and number of times 见你次数, number of times the mother can see her child is going low. So H is our correct answer for 10. And that is our text 1 done. So here you sort of see me like use either process of elimination or seeing like if anything matches up in the text. So this will be more or less the same process I use throughout all the texts, and see how I go question by question rather than just looking through the whole text and then going. So we have text 2, so let's look at that. So we have text 2, we have 行读者联名. So I'm not sure what this 联名 part means, but I do know 行都. So 行 is like to protest, and 毒 is 毒品 the 毒, sure, it's a drug. So something about being against drugs. And we can see here it's a speech addressed to young people, and not sure what this is, 嘉宾 or something like that. But we look at the questions and we have another one of those find the synonyms. So here we have 11. Not sure how that word's pronounced, so I might come back to that later, but I do know this word, 建设. Now 建设 is to build or construct. So the closest synonym we can find to here, which means to build or construct, if we look through, we have 上瘾, which is addicted, no. 毒害 is drug harm, no. 打造 is like to result in, or and then but we do have J, which is 设计, which is to design something, and that's more similar to like construct. So I think J will be our answer for 12. Cool. Now we have 13. We have something high. So something harm. So the closest thing I can find to something harm is G, which is 毒害, so drug harm. So I have a feeling I might go with that, although that might be a bit of a bad strategy because the IB can sometimes trick you by having a character among the options that's exactly the same to the option but isn't necessarily the correct answer. But we'll put G, 毒害 for now. Okay, cool. And now 14, we have 伙伴, I think. So we have 伙伴, and if we check the line that it's actually in, so we have line 11, and that is here. Okay. So 我要 something 新，感谢多年来一直与政府一起的 something 毒害的伙伴. So we have something, and then we have things that could possibly mean. So it's thanking the government for their cooperation in something. So since it's about cooperation, there's only two options I can think of. We have I, which is 朋友, or E, which also has the same character, ban. So since it's like more cooperation and the text is giving thanks to the government, I'm going to assume it might actually be I instead of E. So we thank our government for being friends in trying to stop drugs. Okay. Cool. Now we'll come back to 11 later, but let's move on to 15 to 17. So here we have another one of those finish the options, and it's according to line 6 to 15. Find the correct options. So if we look at 15, we have 要打 something, 读, and then that character. So we look at lines 6 to 15. So here we look for we look for that initial clause. We have, and we do see it here. We have, there we go. So we have this clause here. So whatever that was, and then we have 一个人的付出是不足够的，而是需要整个社会的共同努力. So it's basically saying something about one person's efforts are not enough. You need all of society's hard work together. So looking for something here that represents like hard work and being together. So if we look at this, look at these options. B, yeah, it's 可以支配一个人努力. So it's like you only need one person's hard work. Now that's contradictory to what the text said, so B is incorrect. But then D here, we have 需要所有市民的支持, which means needs all citizens' contribution or support. So I think D might be the correct answer. Okay, cool. 16. 青少年吸毒人数. So the amount of young drug users, or the number. So let's see if there's any reference to that. 今年香港的吸毒人数比去年减少了13%. That's just drug users in general. 其中青少年的吸毒人数更减少了35%. So basically, this is saying the number of young drug users has even more decreased, going by 35%. We have the 35%, so out of 100, 35. So we look at this, we're looking for a percentage number. So the two options that represent percentages are A and E. So we have here 比去年减少了13%. Now that's wrong because that's talking about the number of general drug users and not young people, because this is 13%, which is 13%, not 35%. So A is wrong. And since E is the only other option that talks about percentages or numbers, which is 较去年少了4%左右. Now E means compared to last year went down by around 40%, because another way of saying percentages instead of 百分之 something is to say something 乘 something. So if you want to say 40%, it's 4乘. If you want to say 43%, it's 4乘3. So E is going to be our answer for 16, I believe. Okay, question 17. 作者对航读的成果. So the author towards the results of stopping drugs. So we're looking for this. So we have something about like what's the author's opinion on the results of trying to stop drugs. So here we have, so we're looking for a personal opinion here, and we see something here. We have 这是十分可惜的成绩. So this is an extremely great achievement or result, 成果. So here we have, this is 十分 is like a sort of expression for like being super something. So here we're looking for something that's like extremely good. So we have F and C are the options that represents like personal opinion. So C we have 感到十分满意, which would actually align with the text. So I believe C is going to be our answer. And for F, it's 觉得非常可惜, which I'm probably saying that wrong because of the tones, but this means he thinks it's very pitiful or very shameful. But in the text, he says it's very good. It's a great achievement. So C is going to be our answer. Cool. Moving on. Okay, we have these 4 questions, which is a fill in the blank. So usually in the IB, they'll either be fill in the correct conjunction or specific word they're looking for. So here, let's look at these blank spots, which they want you to fill in. So here they give an example. They give 虽然, and that means because they gave 虽然, question 18 is actually fairly straightforward because it's 虽然, and then another conjunction. And if you know your grammar well, you should know that 虽然 is always followed by 但是 as the although and but grammatical structure. It's 虽然 and then you have to have a 但是, otherwise that's grammatically incorrect. So 但是 is going to be our answer for question 18. Okay, cool. All right, question 19. So question 19 here. So we have 因为染上海瘾的人难以戒掉恶习，同时吸毒的人是一般求助动机较低，something 在教主网络接触到他们时。Like the other question, I'll skip 19 and go to 20 as that might be easier for me to get an answer. But skipping 19, going to 20. So if we look at 20 here, we have 无论对吸毒者本人他们的家庭 and 20 and then 整个社会都会造成沉重的负担。So here they're listing stuff. They're listing 本人, local people, families, and the whole of society. So 20 is going to be something to do with like some conjunction that's similar to and. So ideally this could be a her, but since we don't see a her anywhere, the closest thing to a conjunction that we have is eg, because eg is also another synonym for and. So I believe eg is our answer for 20. There we go. And then 21. We have 在面对毒品 something 时要做出明确的选择，向毒品说不，远离毒品。So here, question 21. So it's something that goes before making a wise decision. So 但是 is already out, e.g. Now, if we're trying to do process of elimination, we can see here that EBN wouldn't be an option as EBN needs to be followed by another EBN. But here we don't see any EBN in any of this two paragraphs. So EBN must be out. We have 比较, which also can't be right because there's no like thing they're comparing to. So 比较 is also out. 除了 needs to be followed by a 除了以外 or 除了 and then high. So, and here in any of these conjunction spots, we don't see any form of a high or EY or yeah. So 除了比较 and EBN are out. So going with what I know, I think for 21, I might put, say, gung. So in the exam, if you want, you can also like sub in these different conjunctions to see if they make sense, like translating for them. So if I put gung, which is even, I might put like, in the face of confronting drugs, even making a wise decision, say no to drugs, stay far away from drugs. Yeah, that might actually sound plausible. Okay, let's move on to question 22, and I'll come back to 19 and 11. So question 22. 演讲的人是, so who's the speaker in this speech? And we have options. We have 联合国成功 一个青少年性增长功或吸毒的人。So here we can see like who's the person like addressing this. So you see, because it's addressed to young people, option B is going to be out. And if we look at the URL, actually, we can see that this comes from the 香港特别性政府 or 政府政府网页. So it's coming from the official Hong Kong government webpage. So because it's coming from a local government and it's got the 性政 there, I think we can make a deduction that is C as our answer. Okay. So I might come back to 11 and 19 later, but I will go to text 4 in this case to start because I think I can answer more questions. So what's text 4 about? So here we have 远离网络霸凌. So this is about avoiding or confront or like trying to deal with online bullying. 霸凌 is like the English alliteration for bullying. Chinese also had another word like 欺负, which is to bully. So here, let's look at the questions here. So according to paragraph 1, question 33, 青少年在使用网络时要学习什么? So what do young people need to learn when using the internet? So look at paragraph 1. Is there anything about learning? Yes, we do. It says, 如何正确面对网络世界中的言论是青少年要学习的重要课题. So learning something about the speech of the internet world, it's young people's most important thing to study and learn. So our answer is actually going to be this: how to properly use and address the internet speech in our world. Cool. Question 34. 被网络霸凌的孩子可能会出现哪两种行为? So if your child is being bullied online, what are the 2 ways you can find out about it? So according to paragraph 1, so we have something. 如果家长发现孩子害怕上学或者和 something 使用电脑, so it's either being afraid to go to school or being opposed to using the computer. And because they're asking for 2 methods, we have to include both afraid of going to school and refusing or opposing using a computer. So let's put those 2 in as our answer. And just on a side note, like if you ever find like you're struggling with a problem, like say question 19 or 11 or just any other question you find hard, it's sometimes better to like skip it but keep it in mind, go to the next questions, and then if you manage to finish most of them, then go back and then maybe you might solve it a little easier. Right, so here, okay, and okay, cool. Question 35. 除了学生以外，那些人也有责任防止网络霸凌的问题. So, besides students, which other people have responsibility in preventing online bullying? That's going to paragraph 1. So here, if we look through, it says here 防止网络霸凌需要学生与家长的共同努力. So because this sentence basically says preventing online bullying needs both students and families' hard efforts. So because it includes 学生 and 家长. Now because 学生is already included in the question, our answer is going to be 家长. Cool. Alright. Question 36. According to paragraphs 2 and 3, get the following correct options. 36. 在网络上被骂. So if you're being scolded or being verbally bullied online, what do you do? Alright, so according to paragraph 2 or 3. Alright. Okay, so we have point number 2 in paragraph 2, which is 如果有人在网络骂你, so if someone's verbally scolding or abusing you, 不要马上回应. So it says, do not immediately respond or reply. So here, let's see what there is. So option A, it's do not reply. B, do not tell your parents. C, you should immediately something like anzan. And then D, it's only tell your friends. D and B seem like ridiculous options, like not telling your family or not telling your family seems like a pretty bad thing to do for bullying. So B and D are incorrect. And topic 2 says you shouldn't immediately do something. So C is also out. So A must be our correct option. Do not reply. And this could mean like something to do with like, this could be a synonym for immediately as well. So A will be our answer. Okay. 37. 要留下孩子 something 受霸凌的证据，家长应该. So something about, so I'm not sure what this 证据 means, but I know 证 means like proof or official document. So I'm going to say it might be say evidence or proof that your child is being bullied online. What should you do to like get proof of that? And what should family members do to get proof that your child's being bullied? So we look anything to do with proving or anything that has 证据. So here, so we don't see anything explicitly to do with 证据, but let's look at the options to see if there's anything that's in there. So if you want to get evidence of your child being bullied, A, you should scold or you should verbally abuse the bullying person. That seems like a really bad idea to do because you don't do that when you're facing online bullying. A is probably going to be incorrect. Then we have C, which is fostering your child's self-confidence. Now that's great and all, but that's nothing to do with like getting evidence that your child is being bullied. So C is incorrect. So we have D or B. Now if we look back at the text, we do see D is mentioned. So we have 把网络霸凌的舆论 something 涂下来. And because we have that 涂下来 present in this text, I think I'm going to go with D as our answer. Cool. Okay. And now we have questions 38 and 39. So these types of questions, basically the IB will give you a sentence prompt, and then you have to finish off with like a clause from the text, so like part of a sentence. So here we have question 38. So 让孩子多参加不同的课外活动，能减少他们 something. So letting your kids participate in different extracurricular activities can reduce their, so what's co-curricular activities reducing. So here we have 多给孩子参加其他休闲活动的机会，培养孩子的自信心，让孩子少 and because we have a 少 here that's similar to 减少 to like reduce 少依赖网络 so I think the answer to this would be 能减少他们依赖网络 so I think this is going to be our answer 依赖网络 is dependence on the internet. Okay, question 39. 要了解孩子在网络上的行为，家长可以 So it's if you want to understand your the methods of your child going on the internet or what your child does on the internet, what can family members do? So it says 参与孩子的网络设something 活动，了解孩子的网络世界。So this is something about understanding the child's online world. And because that's similar to like understanding what your child does online, I think this clause will be our answer. Okay, here. Cool. Now we have questions 40 and 41. So these are like another fill in the blanks, but it seems like this is more concerned with like the headers of the paragraph. So question 40 is what would this paragraph be called? Well, we look at the content here in question 40. We see here that it might be about students, as this would be like as it mentions as topic 1 mentions 收到霸凌的讯息应可 something 通知父母和老师 So if you encounter bullying messages, you should inform parents and teachers. Now, because parents and teachers are being mentioned like this paragraph might be to do with like what can students do if they're being bullied. So if we look at any options to do with students, we have two options. We have something 网络霸凌学生可以怎么做 which is I think this is to do with like confronting bullying, and then D is 避免相关成瘾学生应该怎么做 So D is about avoiding online addiction. What can students do? Well, this isn't about addiction, this is about bullying, so D's wrong. And because the only other option that concerns students is C is going to be our answer. C. There we go. Okay, question 41. That's the third paragraph. And this one's about what can family members do? Because several of our answers from beforehand had to do with 家长可以做什么? So what can family members do? So if we look at the options for anything to do with family members, we can see that there's only one. So E must be the correct answer. Cool. Now we have question 42. 文章的大意是 So what's the big meaning, or what's the overall message of this article or text? So you have A 说明网络成瘾对学生带来的伤害 So talking about internet addiction. A is wrong because it's about bullying. We have B 指出老师应处理网络霸凌的问题 So a guide for how teachers can manage bullying online bullying. That's wrong because there's no advice given for teachers. It's for students and parents or family members. So B is incorrect. So the last one we have is, the last two we have is C. 提出处理网络霸凌的方法及建议. So proposes methods of handling bullying, different methods and suggestions for how to handle bullying. So I think C is going to be our most correct answer. Okay. Cool. And that is text 3 done. So we need to finish off with text 2. So let's go back to question 11. So question 11, we have something here, which I don't know how to pronounce, but if we look at line 3 to see the context of this, 以供参加항读者联名活动 something 进度的讯息. So it's something, so it's to do with, so it's about doing something about about the message of banning drugs. So knowing that this text is about like banning or being against drugs, we can sort of assume that this activity they're mentioning about like opposing drugs could be to say advocate or make aware of why we should ban drugs or something in this text, in the world of this text. So we should look for options that's about like advocating or proposing. So here we look at the options we don't know. So we have A, which is something bu. Then we have tibu. And then we have Chalji is extremely, so that's not one of the options. So if I'm looking through this, then I'm going to take a guess that because like it's advocating for something, the only characters I might know is this T something, because this is like, wait, hang on, because this is the T, which means like to sort of propose or suggest, and because like I sort of know that, because I sort of like know that T sort of has like a meaning of proposing or asking for something or advocating, I might go with D, going off what I know. Okay. All right, and question 19. What's the last conjunction of this? So we have a conjunction that's appropriate for being in the middle of a clause. So here we have, the only one I can see that might be familiar to me would be 因此, which is therefore. So therefore, I might put that in. And I think that's all the questions done. So that took roughly 53 minutes. So roughly the amount of time you would have in an exam going over this paper. So if we check our mark scheme here, we'll see how many questions we got correct. Okay. So let's see. For the first text, the question 1 was C, question 2 was D, 3C, 4B. And then we have Ding as our answer, Shinbuzai, and whatever that was. And then Fala Pizzi, and then DGH. So we got text 1 all correct. Now, text 2, we have D, that's correct. 12 we got wrong, it's H. So that one that one we got wrong. G, so 13 was correct and 14 was correct. So we lost 1 mark here for question 12. 15 to 17, we got those correct. And 18 to 21, we have 但是, yep, 因此, 以及, and 更. So we got all those correct. And then C, we got that one correct. So we lost 1 mark for text 2. That was out of 12 marks. We lost 11. So we got 11 out of 12. And then the third text for us. So we have question 33 was the 政治面对网络世界中的舆论. And we got that. So that's okay. 34, we got those 2 options correct. And it was 家长, and then A and D. And then 依赖的网络 was correct for 38. And then 39 was participating in the internet activities. And then we had CE and then C. So 4 marks for that. So we lost one mark out of 11 of 20 out of 34. Yeah, out of 34, we only lost 1 mark. So we got 33 out of 34, and I think that's pretty decent. So yeah. So basically, running through this exam, although it might have been a bit slow and really long, like 56 minutes, I do believe that this would be how you'd approach an exam in IB Chinese B SL. So basically, you'd be looking to see information that matches from the question to the text, and also using your process of elimination as well. And yeah, besides that, I think it was pretty straightforward. You just had to sort of read the text well. And for the question we did get wrong, which was 12, I think you'd either have to brush up on your vocabulary, or maybe like read it a bit more, because for question 12, I didn't read it too much, as I didn't even bother checking this line. Like if we do that, we have 坚持健康. So yeah, I mean, question 12 is a bit of a hard one, but for these types of questions, you might want to brush up on your vocabulary. But aside from brushing up on vocabulary, I reckon the best way to just do the paper 2, or which was paper 1, but paper 2 reading, is to just keep doing more of these past papers and sort of getting into the zone of exam technique, I reckon. And any new vocabulary that may have popped up here, I'm going to compile it into a list and share it with you in the link below. And if you have any more questions, feel free to comment on this video. Thank you.